Hello everyone. In this video I want to get into the Boox Note Air3C and also the Supernote. I have the Manta here and kind of compare them in their usage and feature sets for working with PDFs. So if you're someone that works with PDFs a lot and either reading them, annotating them, or both, this is probably the video you want to see, especially if you're looking at purchasing one of these devices or switching from one to the other. Now, let's start with the Manta. It's the most simplest approach, I guess you can say, to managing and working with PDFs. And the books have way more features. So I want to start with the Manta here, and we'll just kind of walk through it. First off, you get a lot of the general basic markups, things that you can do. You can write on the actual PDF. You can come in here and you can do your highlighting if you want here. Come in here, we can set a marker up. We can highlight stuff there. If you select it, you can add comments to it from here. You can also change the highlight there to just to be an underline if you want that type of style versus the actual highlight. You can do that as well. So those options are there, and those are typical things that you would get on your basic, note taking or handwriting type device, whether it's an e-ink device or not. Now they go a little bit further with the capabilities of annotation here, and they add in what's called the digest. So what you can do is you can come in here, and with this digest you can basically do the same thing like you're going to do with highlighting, and select this digest icon. And when you go into this one here, instead of just being able to add text-based comments to it, you can come in here and you can do handwriting. So that's really one of the main differences of the digest. It also is separate from the PDF itself. So even though you've annotated or added this onto the PDF within the app on the Manta, this digest itself can be printed out and exported separately from the PDF. So you will get what you selected, which is good. And let me see if I can move that out of the way. You will get the text that you selected within the PDF, and also whatever you comments or handwriting you might have put into this particular digest entry or highlight. You will get a list of these. If I was to go to the digest, let's look at some other ones here. Go to the digest, and we can see I have 3 different PDFs, EPUBs. You can use this on as well, but they show the different digest or books that we have in the digest, and you get a quantity on the side of what's in them. If you select them, you will then see a list of what you have there. And then if you want to say export, you can just press and hold on one of the entries that are in there, and then you can either do select all or only select one, and then you can export that out. So this is pretty nice for those that maybe want to read through the PDF and only pull out what you need from a markup and annotation standpoint. So you don't need to have the entire PDF at that next phase within your workflow. So this works pretty well. That's nice. Now another benefit of the Manta, when you're comparing it to the Boox Note Air here, is that the writing feel is much different than this Boox. You get more of a pen on paper with the Supernote, whereas for me it feels more like paper on or pencil on paper on the Boox, where it's a bit more scratchy. And on the Manta here, it's a little bit of a more of a, I guess, a tacky feel at first. It starts to smooth out, but it's not really scratchy, I guess, or not as scratchy as it is over here. And this one, the Boox also feels a little bit more like glass because it's it feels harder than the soft Feel Right film that is on the Manta here. So the writing feel is really good over here. I really like writing on this particular device, and yeah, it's just fun to write on this one. Also, the screen itself and the how it presents the PDF is nice, clear, crisp, but you do need to be in the right lighting scenario. So if you don't have enough lighting, then it gets pretty dark. And depending on the lighting that you're projecting on it, it does also kind of change the tone and the feel of the of how it looks. So like if I have right now a book light on here that I can change the color on, or the kind of the warmness of the lighting, and you'll see kind of how that changes this here. So let's put it all the way up at this brightest, and then we'll change the colors. So this is a more of a cold feel, or cold I guess illumination of the light. This one here is off. This is a warm, and this is kind of a middle ground here between the warm and the cold. This is the middle ground. On the Boox, it has lighting built into it, so you can do all the same things you can do with the book light all over here with the Manta, because it's not built in, but you get that flexibility of being able to change those the color and the tones of the color. Now, if we move over to the Boox, and I'm starting with the pros for the most part on these devices here, and then we'll kind of talk about the kind of the things that I wish were better, or added to one device or the other. The Boox device here, one of its standout features for me is that I can connect to the cloud storage, which you can do on the Manta and on the Supernote devices too, but its main purpose is for syncing the information from the device and then to this cloud storage. You can do that same thing over here on the Boox device, where you can sync your notes and your markups and things like that to your cloud storage. But you can also browse the cloud storage from here as well, which you cannot do on the Manta. And this is really helpful for getting files into your library that are not already here, without having to go through the hassle of going to your PC and then finding that document, and then either plugging your Manta into the computer, or copying it over via one of the sync methods that you might have out there. So I can literally just go directly to the cloud storage area. It'll show whatever you have bound to here. And you can, if I go into the bind, there's all of these different options that are in there. So there's plenty of options that, if you're using, one of the major cloud providers, you even have things like Evernote in there that you can sync your documents to. It should be in here. So I think this is pretty good. And what I can do from here, though, is I can go into the cloud storage. I can go into, let's say I want to open up this exact same file here. Let's scroll through. You can actually search in here as well. Let me just find this folder, and let's open that PDF up. It does download it there, and then tap it again, and then it will open up in the actual Neo reader. So within the reader, once it downloads in here, I go ahead and merge document data and local data on the device. And now you have your PDF or whatever document you transferred over here that's supported by this reader over here now on the reader. Again, this is my number one differentiation between my workflow of working with PDFs and annotating different documents from the Manta side, from the book side. It's much more efficient and easier for me to get to these documents. So once I'm on the document, this is obviously a known thing. You have color on the color versions of the Boox devices, so I get that added benefit here where I can see the colors. Outside of that, though, the editing features are you get much more features over here, I should say. There's many more outside of just the regular pen options and highlighting options, which you do get a lot more over here. And we should probably even just go into showing those as well. So on the pen options over here, those are the options you get over on for the pen options there. If we click on here, you can see here are all the different pen options. And because they add in the addition of color, you get a lot more color options that are in there. You get the pen, you have a brush, you have a ballpoint pen, you have a pencil, and then you have a marker. So you have these 5 different pens and brushes that you can actually pick from. And over here you have 4 that you can pick from. And the level of colors over here, which you only get more of a grayscale, is much less. So it's not really a con per se, because you still, I think it's enough if you're going to do your basic editing and markup of the document over here. But again, just pointing out that you get way more over here if that's something that you're looking for. So I can come over here and I can do the same thing like I did over there with the mark. I can pick my marker tool there, and then I can mark up stuff if I want to here. And in here, when I showed the highlighting versus over here, like if I pick one of these, click on one of the highlights, click on the highlight there, you see the options that you get. Over here, these are the options you get on the Boox device. So you can do the underline, you can do a squiggly underline. These things are, let me see if we can change that and see it. It's probably going to be a little small on the screen, but I can change the lines on there, change to a dash, more of a dash line. We can change to a highlight. Let's change that highlight color to yellow. You can see there's many different colors you can choose from. Make that more of a light blue. And yeah, there's just way more options here that you can kind of go through. You also have some additional features here where you can have the text read to you. You can do searches. You have OCR abilities in here where you can OCR the PDF, and then you can search the PDF once it's OCR'd, where you don't get that over here on the Manta. So other things that you can do here, let me see. You also have the dictionary. That's another thing. This was a big one that I noticed from the Manta side, where you're reading through your documents over here. You might come upon a word that you don't understand or it's not really clear to you, and you might want to actually be able to see a dictionary of it. So actually I got to get out of the markup. So if I was to come over here and select a word just by pressing and holding on it, it will actually pull up a dictionary. And having a dictionary at your disposal right away is kind of something that you just have to have. Then the Manta right now does not have that. So I just want to point that out. You do get the dictionary over here, and with the dictionary, what you don't have to do is, like you would on the Manta, is either stop doing what you're doing here and then go to another device in order to figure out what the definition of a word is. Even if it's not in a digital device, you may have to pick up a dictionary and then search through it to look through that particular dictionary in physical form. But it takes you away from this device, and you literally have to move your eyes off this device and move it somewhere else. The distraction over here of just bringing up the dictionary itself, it is a distraction, but having to take your eyes off the device, go to something different, is even a bigger distraction. So I think having that dictionary over here is something that sets it apart in a big way for me. The other thing you get over here that you do not get on the Manta is you get AI features. So if we click on this AI, and this is not your typical chat bot type of stuff. This is more functional things that as you're marking up your PDF that I think are actually usable. So the one that I use most is the scribble to erase. So when you have a stylus that doesn't have an eraser on it, this comes in really handy if you want to erase something. So I can easily just come in here and I can scribble on there. Let me pick the right pen. Pick a pen here. I'll go out. So if I didn't want this to be here, I can just scratch through it and AI will notice and then it will erase whatever it was you scratched over. If we come in here, we can also see that you can do shapes as well. So if you come in here and you do a circle, you hold on it, it will actually create a circle. You can do squares and triangles and all kind of shapes it supports. These are pretty useful if maybe you do have enough real estate on your PDF to where drawing shapes and things make sense for you. If you want to annotate, you can actually just come in here and you can circle things instead of pressing and holding on things here. You can just circle it, and then circling that will highlight it for you. And I find this probably more useful over here on the Boox device than I would need it over on the Manta because the palm rejection on the Boox device is not that great in my experience. As soon as I put my hand on or my palm on the screen here, it starts changing pages on me really quick. So what I typically do is I will turn off touch. So the touch feature I will turn off so that I don't get any of those false palm touches or finger touches on the actual device, and it starts changing the pages and starts wigging out on me. There are some reasons I think that they added some of these AI features in here, and I think those are to solve problems that they may have had on the device, and that's one of them. So with that said, you can still get some of these highlighting options that you would get there by using either a scribble line underneath something, circling it, and yeah, that's pretty much it there on those. You also get a double tap to do text recognition. So if I was to come in here and let's just say I was to do just write something on there that I want to be changed to text, I just double tap on the screen there and it should, if it recognizes, let me tap that again, and it's not recognizing it. So, oh, it's probably not recognizing it because I turned tap off. Let me turn the touch off. So let me turn touch on and then do it. And now you can see that it actually recognized what the handwriting was and changed that to text. So those are some of the main differences that you have here. One of the cons again over here is that the Manta doesn't have a dictionary. So it takes you away. If you need to really know what that word is, you're going to have to go to some other device to figure it out because there's no dictionary here. And then you have to also over here, you have to manually export your changes if you want that file to have it in it. So the PDF on this, when you move it over here and you start doing your markup, the markup goes into a .mark file. So until you do an export on it, nothing on that PDF will be changed. You won't see any of those annotations and markup. So compared to the Boox, where as soon as I close out of this PDF, so if I was to close out of this PDF, what it will do is it will actually sync to the cloud. So you have the option to have it sync to the cloud, and this file that is synced is basically doing the process of an export that you would get here to where it's saving all those markups and annotations to the PDF, but it's not only changing it within the library here on this device, it's also syncing those changes to the cloud version of this as well. So I can right now just go to my desktop, go to the directory where that file is, and open it up, and I will see all the things that I did here. Now, with that said, the Boox doesn't have a digest feature like you can get over on the Manta. So that would be a con over here. And the distractions are a lot more on the Boox device. So there's many more things and features, not just in that reader app and being able to annotate and stuff that's in there, but also on the device in general. You have access to the Google Play Store on here, and that just opens up a huge can of worms if you're someone that doesn't have the willpower to not just go there and install a bunch of different apps on this thing. And yeah, it could get crazy for you. So for the people who want some kind of strict adherence to being less distracted on your device, I would say go with the Manta, because while you can do side loading and stuff like that, it's enough friction to where I don't want to actually have to go through the process of installing Aurora or one of the other app stores on the side and then figure out whether the app is going to work or not. So this device is strictly set up to where I'm just using the native note-taking and readers that come with the device, and there's nothing else downloaded on here. Okay, so that is kind of it for the comparison, and I focus strictly on managing PDFs over here. Again, both devices work well. I think both devices will give you what you need in order to read, annotate, and export your PDFs so that you can do further stuff with it. One has more features and capabilities than the other, but it doesn't make, say the Boox better than the Manta, or the Manta better because it has to digest than the Boox. It's really going to depend on your preference and what your workflow is. So I hope this brought a little bit of light on how these two devices work, and it helps you in your decision on how you use these devices. From my experience, now that I have kind of tested both these devices and worked with them for a bit, I will probably do more PDF reading and EPUB reading and annotation stuff on the Boox device, just because I don't have to transfer my files over because they're already on OneDrive, and I also don't have to have that added part of the process of doing that export. So where over here I have to manually export all the time. To me, I think it actually adds too much to my workflow, and it makes it much more inefficient. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out, because I do like the digest feature here. So yeah, and also the screen and the reading experience. Everything on this Manta device is pretty good. So that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find value in this content that I'm creating. And until the next time, have a nice day.